many mistakes have been made over the years when companies were going abroad. Often that means not enough commitment to the market, not enough upfront investment, and somehow expecting that the markets will develop on their own, or the sales will develop on their own, and that somebody else will drive the brand building and expansion in some of those geographies. So essential thing is really to take a greater control over your business when going abroad.
See the earlier answer, not doing those things well. I think the risk is you try and scattergun, you get seduced by the expansion in international, and the worst thing is to try and plant flags and have a small presence in lots of markets. Our experience, others may be different, but our experience is that just doesn't work. You really add complexity into the organisation. There's lots of hidden costs you don't realise you're having to commit, whether it's translations or customs regulations. So just really think through the total costs of going into a market. And having a small presence, in our case of a couple of stores in a market or two, just wouldn't work. And we've learned by a bit of bitter experience here. Really pick a few things and do them well.
I think the most common mistake when you're looking to expand internationally is trying to go too fast without enough focus, without building the right foundations, and actually you rush in, you win that first contract and feel that off the back of that contract you have a foothold and a strength and a foundation, and actually it's just that foothold, and from that foothold you have to really think about how you're going to build the foundations to go from strength to strength and allow it to be a proper established business. I think when it fails is when you think you've won this contract, now I've got a presence, I can rush to the next country, the next location, and I think it's really important not to go too fast.
I think it's jumping before you can walk. It's making a decision to go international and probably over-egging the structure and putting in place something that probably isn't fit for purpose and is too big and cumbersome. I think all too often businesses could have been far more successful if they started small and then built up their international presence as and when they had proved their business, developed their client base, and then really grown into what they had put in place on the ground.
Probably just not really knowing what you're doing. I think it sounds like a very complicated process, not something to be entered into lightly. Definitely sounds like you need to do your research really carefully and have the right people on your side if you're going to make the decision.
It's a difficult one because we haven't done a lot of international expansion, but we're not a huge company, so we're going to have to really focus on where we want to expand internationally and make sure that we pick the right markets and focus on those rather than try and spread ourselves too thinly across too many markets.